I'm going to be absolutely candid on this topic. Being beautiful is one of the most valuable things you can have. And most beautiful women have no idea how to actually use it. They spend it without knowing they're spending it. They let other people benefit from it. And they end up depleted and wondering why all that attention never turned into money, opportunities, or a better life. So today I'm breaking down the whole system because your beauty is currency. And if you don't understand your own currency, somebody else is going to decide how it gets spent. The first thing you have to understand is that beauty works as a signal. Human beings make snap judgments off appearance in a fraction of a second, and those judgments subtly shape what people assume about your competence, personality, and your worth. This doesn't mean beauty guarantees you anything, but what it means is that beauty changes your starting position. And the mistake so many beautiful women make is pretending that starting position doesn't exist, when the smarter move is to understand exactly how it works so you can move through the world with your eyes open. So let me actually prove to you why beauty functions like currency, because I'm not just calling it that because it sounds cute. Currency is anything people are willing to give up something valuable for, and people will give up real things for perceived beauty. They'll hand you their attention, invitations, introductions. They'll extend you more patience and more forgiveness than they'd give somebody else. They'll offer you opportunities, information, mentorship, and access to circles they'd normally keep closed. All of that is valuable, and people trade it for proximity to beauty every single day. That's what makes it currency, not metaphorically, because I really do mean an actual exchange happening in real time. Go ahead and subscribe because this is game I don't see anybody else giving. Here's the problem though. You can own something incredibly valuable and still have no idea how to manage it. A lot of beautiful women are sitting on real social capital and they're mishandling it every single day because nobody ever taught them it was an asset in the first place. Your beauty creates easier introductions, it gets you more invitations, it makes people curious about you, it opens doors other people have to work twice as hard to get into. That's value. But most women only consume what that value brings them. They soak up the compliments, the validation, admiration, and then the interaction ends. They never convert any of that into relationships, knowledge, opportunities, or resources. The attention comes in and it just evaporates. And that's because attention is the first form of currency, but attention by itself is worthless. Being noticed will never automatically make you valuable, and confusing the two is exactly what keeps a lot of pretty women stuck. Attention is only the entry point. What you do after you have it is what actually determines the outcome. A woman who just receives attention is thinking about how good it feels to be seen. A woman who understands attention is thinking about what to do with it. She's asking herself, who actually has access to her right now? What opportunities exist in this situation? Which of these relationships is worth developing, and where this interaction could realistically lead? Same attention, completely different outcome. And I want you to see the full chain here. Attention turns into conversation. Conversation turns into trust. Trust turns into a real relationship. That relationship turns into opportunity. Opportunity turns into resources, and resources turn into money, stability, and a better life. Every one of those is a link, and beauty only hands you the very first one, the attention. If you stop there and just enjoy being looked at, the chain breaks at link one and you get nothing. But if you understand that attention is supposed to move down that chain, you start treating every bit of it like the first link in that chain instead of the whole payoff. And here's something beauty does that's easy to miss, which is that it creates optionality. Optionality is different from opportunity. And opportunity is when somebody offers you one specific thing. Optionality is just having more possible paths in front of you than the next person. One woman gets three invitations, another gets one. One woman has several doors she could walk through, another has a single crack in a single door. That's what money does too. It gives you more options, more room to choose, more ability to walk away from a bad deal or a person that's wasting your time. Beauty can create that same thing. And beauty changes the psychology of negotiation more than most women realize. People are simply more receptive to somebody they perceive positively. And that affects everything from how you network to how you ask for opportunities to how your ideas get received when you present them. Now, I want to be clear that I'm talking about awareness here. Nobody's telling you to manipulate anybody. A woman who understands the influence she carries doesn't move through the world shrinking and apologizing for taking up space. She's not over explaining why she deserves to be there. She understands that she already has a certain leverage in how she's received, and she carries herself accordingly instead of talking herself out of her own advantage. You have to start seeing yourself as the one managing the asset. The asset is your beauty, and you are the manager. Beauty is the advantage, but you are the person responsible for how that advantage gets used. So a smart woman asks herself some real questions. Where should I be investing my presence? Where am I spending my energy, and is it worth it? Who am I giving access to? Which environments actually raise my value and which ones just slowly drain it? Because every single environment you walk into has an exchange happening in it. Some places give you money, knowledge, connections, and growth, and some only take, consuming your attention, your energy, and your time while handing you nothing back. And if you're not paying attention to which kind of environment you're in, you'll keep pouring yourself into places that were never going to give you anything in return. Now, let's talk about presentation, because how you present yourself is a form of communication. You're signaling who you are and what you're about before you ever open your mouth, and a corporate boardroom rewards a completely different look than a creative industry party. A strategic woman knows she's not getting dressed randomly. She understands she's communicating something specific with how she shows up, whether that's professionalism, elegance, authority, approachability, creativity, or exclusivity. Most people are reading you before you speak, so you might as well have a say in what they're reading. And here's a principle you have to understand, which is that scarcity increases perceived value. Constant access to you lowers how unique you seem. Being everywhere reduces your impact. Over explaining yourself kills the mystery, and the more available you make yourself, the less intentional your presence feels to the people receiving it. This ties directly into things I've talked about before, about protecting your access and being selective about your vulnerability, because your time, attention, and your presence are all resources. They are finite, and the way you ration them changes how they're valued. A woman who is a little harder to access is a woman whose presence actually means something when she does show up. And once your beauty starts creating opportunities, the whole game changes from attracting to filtering. When you have a lot of options and a lot of noise coming at you, the skill stops being how do I get attention and becomes how do I tell what's actually worth my time? Because attention doesn't mean somebody is actually aligned with you. Somebody being attracted to you or interested in you does not automatically make them an actual investment in your life. So you have to develop the ability to look at everything coming your way and recognize which of these people is a real connection versus which one is just somebody who wants access to you and dress it up to look like an opportunity. The women who don't learn this get overwhelmed and either shut everything out or say yes to the wrong things. And both of those leave you with less than you started with. And this might be the most important thing I say in this video. So really take this in. Beauty changes over time. But what you build from your beauty can last long after your beauty itself changes. Your looks can get you a call back other people didn't get, a seat at a table you didn't earn yet, and the benefit of the doubt when somebody's deciding whether or not to take a chance on you. The women who win are the ones who take those openings and convert them into things that don't fade. Skills, a business, an education, a real network, investments, a reputation that stands on its own. The smartest women treat beauty as the entry point and never the destination, because they understand that the door opening means nothing if you don't walk through it and build something on the other side. And this is where compounding comes in. Say your beauty gets you one introduction to one mentor, that mentor introduces you to somebody else. That connection turns into a partnership, and that partnership turns into a business, and that business opens three more doors that you never saw coming. Beauty builds the business, beauty got you the first introduction, and then the introduction compounded into everything after it. That's how a single opening becomes an entire life, but only if you know to let it build instead of letting it dead end at the compliment. And if you don't understand your own value, I promise you other people will decide how it gets used for you. That's the danger. When you don't recognize what you're carrying, you give access away too freely. You accept attention when you could have had opportunity. You let people benefit from your presence, energy, and your influence while you walk away with nothing built for yourself. So the question you have to keep asking in every relationship, in every situation is this: am I actually receiving value here, or am I the only one providing it? Because a lot of beautiful women are giving and calling it being liked, when really they're just being drained by people who understood their value better than they did. So if you take nothing else from this, take this. Your beauty is the starting capital, and what you build with it is the actual wealth. Like any asset, it has to be understood, protected, invested, and converted into skills, money, connections, and reputation that outlast your looks. The women who benefit the most from being beautiful are not simply the women who are beautiful. They're the women who understand the psychology behind it and refuse to let it get spent on people and places that were never going to give them anything back. I really want to hear from the beautiful women watching this. Has your face ever gotten you in the door, but you kept walking away with nothing but compliments when you could have been walking away with so much more? And when did it finally hit you that you'd been sitting on an advantage you never fully used? Let me know down below. Share this, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.